Hello and welcome to Surveyor Says, the podcast from the National Society of Professional Surveyors. Each week, we bring you fascinating guests that are involved in the profession of surveying. We cover a lot of ground, including Table Lay Talk with Gary Kent, Point of Order with the NSPS Joint Government Affairs Team, Future Focus, highlighting current and future leaders of the profession, and everything survey-related in between. Thanks for joining us here on the podcast, and hope you enjoyed listening to this episode of Surveyor Says. Hello and welcome to another episode of Surveyor Says. This is your host Tim Burch, and this one's kind of hard to do. I'll be honest with you. We're finishing up here in Accra, Ghana. I'm sitting poolside with two lovely ladies. There, we hear the waves crashing in the background. This is really, really hard to sit here and do because it's such a lovely setting. It's not nearly as hot as it's been all week. It's really, it's finally cooled off a little bit. There was a nice, pretty good rain this morning, thunder and lightning, but it's nice this afternoon. And so I'm sitting in the lobby thinking about the trip home, and in wander these two wonderful young surveyor ladies, and I'm like, wow, maybe I can twist their arms and have them sit down and have a conversation with me. So I don't butcher Angela's name, I'm going to let her introduce you, or introduce herself a little bit. Who are you? Where are you from? And how did you get into surveying?
Okay. Thank you so much, Tim. My name is Angela Anykora. So I'm from Nigeria, and I'm also a part of the Young Surveyors Network Nigeria, and also part of the Young Surveyors Network FCT, because there is, you have the bigger body Young Surveyors Network Nigeria, and you also have the various state chapters. So I live in Abuja, so I'm under the Abuja branch. So how I got into surveying, I was telling Tim earlier that it was just because of the travels. Just because of the travels.
Travels and the glamour.
Oh, yes, please. See me where the good life's at.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so my mom is a surveyor, right? So ever since I was 5, so they say, yes. Ever since I was 5, she was like, but I saw her travel a lot, over the course of this, because she's also in a geographic surveyor, because she was once the past commission chair for hydrography. So she always travels and all. So I was like, this traveling is like, this is the life I want to live. And ever since then, I just fell in love with surveying. But getting to the school life of surveying and all the maths and all the physics and all the I started rethinking, actually, because it was not what I expected. I thought I was just going to travel without having to read. Apparently that was not the case. So I just had to, find surveying for what it really was. And I think that's how I just basically fell in love with it. And ever since then, I've just been going with the flow, having experiences in different aspects of the surveying sector. Because back home in Nigeria, we don't demarcate the surveyors. Once you study surveying and geoinformatics in school, when you go out to actually practice, you are left to decide which you want to practice in. There is no demarcation to say, oh, you're just a land, or you're just an hydrographer, that kind of thing. So it's a mix of all, and I think I'm just having the funnest part of my life.
Well, that's great. Where did you go to university?
I went to Bells University of Technology in Ogun State, Nigeria. It's a private-owned school, and I think it was one of the first private schools that has surveying and geoinformatics. So I was like a third set to leave, basically.
And is that where you're continuing, or are you going somewhere else to continue your studies?
Okay, no, I'm currently in African Regional Institute for Geospatial Science and Technology. That's AFRIGIST, is where it's like an African Union school where all the African countries come together. And I'm currently on a scholarship, by the way, given to me by the Office of the Surveyor General of the Federation, where they actually give scholarship to surveyors to further their studies in a master's degree or a PhD degree. So I was one of the scholars for 2022. So basically, I'm studying, soon I will have my master's in technology for geoinformation science and technology, basically.
Well,
So, yeah, but that's in Ife, Osun State in Nigeria. So I have to travel and travel back home and that kind of thing, basically.
Well, congratulations on the
Thank
scholarship.
you.
Congratulations on working on your master's. That
Thank
is
you.
most excellent. All right, we're going to move on to our next guest. Let's be honest, she's a fan favorite. You know her on LinkedIn. You know her from the Young Surveyor world. It's been fun to get to know this young lady, Miss Roshni Sharma.
Should I write
Oh, see, this is the beauty of having to work out in the public as the luggage cart goes by. So it's all fun and games. So, Roshni, let's try that again.
Hi everyone, so my name is Roshni Sharma. I'm from Sydney, Australia. Originally, I guess, from Fiji, Indian by heritage, so I'm just a general resident of the Southern Hemisphere, I think. I never actually intended to get into surveying. I went to an agricultural high school and I loved the environment, so I was like, oh my gosh, I just want to work with animals and plants and natural systems and everything. So I did environmental science and management for my undergrad. And then after that, I really enjoyed a couple of subjects, but I wanted to kind of go on to do some research. So I started a PhD in paleoclimatology, which is a fancy way of saying long-term past climate. And there was a moment in there where I was doing field work on a lake in Cambodia, doing a sonar transect of the lake to understand the deepest point to take our cores. And I was holding the GPS and I just was like, oh gosh, this small tiny piece of technology, it's so powerful. You know, it can tell me exactly where I am on the planet's surface, and it's a pretty big planet. So ditched the PhD, finished it as a research master's instead, and went on to do a different master's in geospatial information, and I've never looked back.
And where do you currently work?
Yeah, so I'm a project manager and industry engagement specialist for a company called Frontier SI, based in Australia.
Based in Australia. Well, the one common thing that we're here for is obviously the FIG Working Week 2024. Roshni, let's start with you. We start off the week with the Young Surveyors pre-event, a day and a half of approximately 80 surveyors from around the world coming together. What was that event like for you? And because you've been to them before. Oh, I need to talk to this other one. Okay. She's going to tell us where this is going. So, was this your first one?
Nope.
No.
No. I have been, my first one was in 2016. So ever since that's in New Zealand, where we had to travel for almost 3 days. I was sick.
Yes, yes.
No, but it was a hard one because that was my first trip and it was that stressful. So ever since then, I've actually been coming because I went for the one in 2018. And I think this would be my fourth FIG Young Surveyors Network conference.
Well, good. You're a veteran. You can tell us what took place during this day and a half, and what did you learn? What did you take away from the pre-event?
Okay, beautiful. So from this current one that I attended, I think what I'll do is I'll tell you a brief of how it had happened till then I'll compare the both of them so that my take home is actually standard and legit experiences that I had.
Sure. Yes.
Okay, so from this particular conference, what I saw more engagement. Like the content that was brought out, that's the theme for our conference, which is our world then and now, was just amazing. Because we're in a chapter where by the Young Surveyors we are having more generations join in and others actually living as well. So but we don't want to look over our backs on what the past surveyors have done. We want to recognize the efforts they have contributed. You have contributed in making the Young Surveyors Network what it is now. So basically, we just wanted to appreciate the past, reorient ourselves to the present and look forward to what the future of surveying would then be. So for me, the theme was just everything that would help Young Surveyors Network be sustainable. So I was really excited having to come here, not just about seeing the people I've been working with virtually for like how many years, but like having to see them physically was really enlightening for me. Like it gave me a different perspective on how things are being handled, because I then get to see the people and be surprised how they look real life.
They look a little different.
Oh, really different. Oh God, it was amazing. Exactly. So it was crazy good. I had a lot of fun, a lot of really intelligent conversations. So taking me back then to 2016. First off, I would say that I'm a shy person. Mostly when I'm just new at something, I'd rather not speak. I just try to listen in and just see how well the conversation goes. So I was in school when I came for the 2016 at New Zealand, and I felt like everyone was not really within my age. So having to start up that conversation was kind of really difficult for me, because what the hell am I supposed to tell you? Like, so it was so weird. I felt so out of place. I felt everybody was older than me, so I really didn't make much friends. But it was that time, because I think I was one of, if not just the only black person or black African that actually went for Young Surveyors Network. So that was the first time they actually gave me the FIG Young Surveyors Network pin. Oh, yes. So we had this meet and greet kind of thing, and we were like speed dating and just talking to people within really short period of time. So they said I was the one that won. I don't know, but anyways, I won. So for me, I didn't really make much friends. It was just, okay, this is how FIG is, oh beautiful. It was quite boring, because I didn't really understand what was really happening. I didn't really talk to much people. So fast forward then to 2018. Okay, now I'm getting there a bit. I have a few friends. I met Shirley, I met Farah. I was a bit engaged in some of the organizational preparations for the conference. I got to understand what Young Surveyors Network was about. And then we had COVID-19, where we had to work online, which was, well, not so good, because I think a lot of people died around that phase in our lives. But the point is, it was different from what we were kind of used to. But now coming back again, today's year in Accra, 2024, was just amazing. I myself, I don't know what the future holds for surveyors, but I know it's going to be more amazing than what we felt here.
Agreed.
Yes.
Well, because even the lineup of speakers, to me, I wanted to not do what I was doing with my stuff and come along and do some things. Hi, Rosario. How are you?
Hi, sorry.
Oh, no. We're now being joined by Miss Rosario from Uruguay. She's bombing the podcast, which is okay.
It's
which is
exciting.
Absolutely okay.
She also has on a really nice pair of earrings.
Yes, and she is. If you know what, if there's anybody that I won't say. I don't want to be offended by saying that you're an honorary young surveyor, but I think you're a young surveyor.
In my heart, of course I am.
Yes.
And I also want to support the others.
Yes. Yes, exactly. We're talking about the lineup of speakers that was at the pre-event. Just looking at that lineup of speakers and the energy and the passion that they brought to the Young Surveyors event, and to me it wasn't those people and their topics weren't talking down to the young surveyors, it was embracing it. So can you tell us a little bit about what you got from the speakers that were there at the pre-event? Okay,
so for the speakers that were at the pre-event, which was really well selected, I give that to Shirley, because she was in charge of the program team.
Yes.
They were really well selected because they came from different sides. They came from the past, they came from the future, and they came from the present. So for the past, I think we had John Brooke, who gave us the history. In fact, his history started from how God basically was a surveyor.
Yes.
And he then broke it down. Even when they didn't study surveying, they were acting surveying. So it was enlightening to see our history, play in life, and how even if you're not particularly a surveyor, you have some elements of surveying in you. That shed a lot of light for me, and it was really great. Then we had the present, where we had speakers on what people were currently doing, in the surveying programs, where people had gotten to in their research, and the future they now lied on having AI. And Brian's speech, that's his welcome speech, was just amazing. He spoke about how we should all appreciate what we have now, but make sure that we are expanding our horizons, like make sure that we are thinking out of the box. He emphasized how the young surveyors are the future profession, basically. So we should not do consistently what our seasoned surveyors do, but we should think out of the box. We should keep looking forward. Don't look side, don't look left, just forward, and hopefully things fall in line for you. But always stay focused and keep learning. So it was mind-blowing. It was mind-blowing for me, basically.
Well, and this is another opportunity for a shout out to Craig Hill and Leica,
Yes,
and
please.
what they do for the young surveyors year in and year out, and the energy and the financial support that they provide the young surveyors to be able to put on their event, to be able to go and have a wonderful evening out, to have more camaraderie throughout. So thank you, Leica. Thank you, Craig, and your team. You do a wonderful job. So I guess I do want to turn it over to Roshni for a second, because of her work in a lot of different things. I'm not sure that there's a task force that you're not on. It just seems that way. So tell us about a couple of the highlights of the things that your passion projects, the things that the task force that you really like to be involved in, the kind of the cream of the crop top ones. I think I probably know the top one, but you can probably tell us.
So I think there's really three key highlights for me from this entire week. One has been the launch of the VCSP publication. So that's the Volunteer Community Surveyor Program, which is an outreach of the Young Surveyors Network. So VCSP is something that's been close to my heart for a long time. I'm not a traditional land surveyor, so getting involved in a project that's largely about land administration, I get a lot of imposter syndrome, but just, we've put together this publication of what the VCSP has done since 2017, and we've deployed 42 young surveyors across 9 countries, and part of putting together the publication meant I reached out to every single one of those people and asked them, how has this deployment impacted your life, and how has it shaped the course of your career? And hearing consistently from every single one of them basically that it shaped what I'm passionate about to be more geared towards humanitarian surveying, and it has meant that I have shifted the course of my career to channel that passion. It just is so rewarding. So I'm really proud of our team. I'm really proud of how they've come together to achieve all of this, and it's really exciting to think about what the next 4 years is going to bring. Another thing that I'm really excited about is the Climate Compass Task Force. So last year in Orlando, we had a handful of papers across the entire Orlando working week that had a relationship to climate. This year, it's hard to walk past a paper that doesn't.
Right.
And so climate as an issue has become really mainstreamed, not only relevant to the work of this task force, but relevant to the work of all of the commissions, the work of working groups within commissions. There are so much activity. People are asking so many questions. They're really wanting to get involved. We're really hearing case studies of what's working at a national level, at a local level, at a regional level. And people are sharing, best practice that they've learnt that works for them. And that's just so rewarding to see. It's getting a life of its own. And I couldn't ask for anything more, Yes. And again, our core team in the Climate Compass Task Force, they've been really incredible over the last 12 months. So passionate, so dedicated. They put in time and effort to plan our events, and take part and have ideas, and you know, Angie's part of it as well. So it's just so much fun, and it's really worthwhile. And I've also loved seeing, you know, my third takeaway is how we're talking about diversity a little bit more. And I've seen that emerge not only when it comes to diversity of speakers, but diversity of how we succession plan each other in different commissions, in different roles, in different aspects. And to me, that's just so cool. It's something that's so important, and I'm really happy to see those conversations happening.
Exactly. What just dawned on me, that I'm sitting here at the table with three very passionate, powerful women from three different continents. And to me, that is just, I'm blown away. I'm honored to be sitting here with you all, because this is where the profession needs to go, and this is how we grow together. I like what you said about especially the last one with the diversity. One of the things, I sat in the diversity panel discussion, and it was amazing to me to have the group of women from Africa talking about land rights and talking about lack of, and unfortunately, and I'll say unfortunately, I come from a place where that's non-existent. I take it for granted. Anyone can go and purchase a piece of property at any time. That if the fact that there still are places where people cannot buy a piece of land to call home simply because of their gender, simply because of their race, and it just whatever the surveying community can do to eradicate that, I think that's our duty, if nothing else. So I like that's also part of one of your goals as well. So before we move on, I guess since Rosario crashed our party here, I do want to turn it to her for a moment. Give us a little introduction of who you are, where you're from, what you do, and then I've got a couple questions for you.
Oh, that's okay. My name is Rosario Casanova. I'm a surveyor. I have master's degree, one in schematics and the other in urban planning, and I also have a PhD degree in surveying. I'm a professor at University of Republic in Uruguay, South America, between Argentina and Brazil, the little country in the middle, that's us. I have been professor for a lot of time, more than 30 years. I got my degree and I started being the professor because I love to share knowledge and experience with students, with young surveyors. And I really think that you can make the change with those little things done. And then I have a comment, if I may.
Yes.
But regarding my hats, I'm the vice chair of Commission 2 of Professional Education. I'm also vice chair of the Regional Capacity Network of the Americas, of FIG 2. And also work in the help support to try to in the Trends Task Force and the SDG Task Force that is so related with the ones that you were talking. And and the other hat is UNCCM. Then I'm the chair of the UNCCM Academic Network for the Americas. So always related with the point of view of education. And with that is that I want to come back about something that you said, and it was a question that Dimo asked in one of our sessions, that he asked to the young student, which was the main or the more relevant class that you received, by whom? And mostly all of them, they said, to those professors that were passionate in what they were giving to us, that they want to share the knowledge. So that's what you were talking about, passion, how to feel. That's the way that I think we feel surveying. It's that the way you feel there, and the way that's why one of the best things of here, from my point of view, this event is networking, is friendship, is that we all of us, we were able to see what was happening there and everywhere. You had a problem and you ask someone, and the other came trying to resolve it, and they will help you to resolve. And that's the way why FIG is one really important to have those networks working and keep working together, even when you come back at home. Because, I don't know, I can ask Tim, what about this? Okay, let's do this. And that's the great thing of having a community working together, loving surveying.
Absolutely. Well, my question to you is a simple one. You've been an educator for a while. You've been around students for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with young ladies like this. Are we seeing a change in that surveying is becoming that much more positive? It's starting to maybe grow a little bit again, that we are becoming more of a realization that surveyors are going to be a little more visible in the world, and we have an opportunity to make a difference?
We should be doing that. I'm not sure if we are doing it. That was something that yesterday when we went to the tour, I was thinking about. In the meantime, I'm thinking, but it was how we can do the difference. One of the things that I was thinking is that maybe an opportunity for the future, FIG maybe could or should start having meetings with local governments, not coming them to us going to them.
Going to them.
Like talking with the local government, I don't know, whatever it is, in the level that it is, to have a brief meeting, but go from Diane or vice chairs or the chairs of the commission to have a talk about, okay, what we are doing, going with the local people to support them. I think that sometimes when you talk from the local point of view, nobody realizes the relevance that you have. But if someone comes from the outside and have that and say, okay, here we are with the president of FIG, of Federation International. I mean, wow, really? And that is important. Especially here, we had a president talking to all of us.
Yes, president of the country.
Yeah.
Yes, that was amazing.
Exactly. That's what I'm not sure that will happen in another part of the world. So with that, but on the other way, from FIG going to talk with that, maybe that can make, at least in some countries, realize about the relevance of surveying, of geospatial information. I think that way could help. Now, I think we are doing a lot, but I'm not so sure the amount of government decision makers were here.
Right.
And so maybe that's something that we have to work on.
We have to take
Yeah.
the bull by the horns and go do that ourselves. So, good insight. I like that. I like that a lot. I want to circle back around, back to you, Angela, whichever I'm supposed to call you. I should probably call you Angela because I don't know you that well. Let's come back to you. I guess I'm curious. Through all the plenaries, through all the technical sessions, was there enough content there that was able to intrigue you, to enlighten you, to educate you through the week, that you feel like you had a great takeaway, even beyond just the Young Surveyors things? Was there enough content there to intrigue a young mind?
Indeed there was. Indeed there. In fact, there were. If I say there was, it means it was just one. So indeed there were a lot, basically, because for me being in the FIG Diversity Task Force and also the FIG Climate Task Force, it was really enlightening. Like, one of the key things I took home was, because I'd snuck into the land administration session going on, and I knew in Africa, having land it's mostly as a woman. You have people get it most of the places in Nigeria, but not all are entitled to actually owning one. And it comes from, for example, inheritance, where somebody, the father of the house dies and it's just the wife that remains. Instead of it to go to the wife who is going to cater for the family, you see the uncle of that father coming to drag the land with the family, and the women end up getting nothing at the end. I know this is a problem in Nigeria, but I didn't know it was that bad in other regions. Like, I only know for my country. But having a lot of other Africans speak on it was really the highlight for me. I felt there are some issues we had back home, like in Nigeria, and having to see other countries, not just African countries now, and not just land-related issues. Talking of climate, there was one in Fiji where they talk about how they usually have different landslides day in, day out, and the water always clashes in. In fact, it was horrible to even listen to, more so living. So like hearing these things, it means that every region have their own, not just their own, but have similar issues going on. And I think having to realize that just really, stemmed up something thinking in my head that we're not the only one with problems. Like everybody has their different problems and most likely similar problems as well. So joining all of these sessions together, my take back home would be to see how to basically align all of these goals together, because I know working in silos doesn't make any sense. In fact, you won't even go far. But if there is a way, like Rosario had mentioned, if we even start with just bringing FIG into countries and communities, I think that is the first step to making awareness in different countries and making people feel and know that surveying is relevant, and we can actually start helping in climate issues. That was one of the reasons why I actually joined Climate Act, was to also see how surveyors can contribute. And trust me, Roshni has been doing, and Clarissa has been doing an amazing job so far. So I think that's just basically a brief for me. So let others.
Yes. All right, Roshni, what's your takeaways from the week itself and all of the sessions, the plenaries? We should probably at some time talk about the gala dinner and Queen Mother, or we can leave that for another time. But what were your takeaways from all of the sessions, the plenaries, and just the beauty of networking here during the week?
So I want to flag this by saying that I come from Australia, which is a country that is very different to many African countries, and honestly the biggest highlight for me this week has been realizing how much I don't know and how much I take for granted. It's been very humbling, but I've also learned so much and I've had a lot of fun. So my biggest takeaway is that if surveying as a profession is going to be relevant into the future and resilient, we need to think about what the values are that drive the worldviews that we hold as we work in the profession, because they vary all around the world. And it reminds me, going back 2 weeks from, in fact probably today actually, I was at the last day of the Locate conference in Sydney, Australia. That's our annual national conference, and I was moderating a panel with some of the keynote speakers, and one of them was a gentleman called Dean Sanders. He is a Aboriginal elder in Australia. He's also a lawyer. He works for Deloitte. Very, very successful, articulate man. And I remember asking him, how can we make, in Australia, before you start a meeting, you do something called acknowledgement of country. You say, a lot of people are very rote, and they say, want to acknowledge the Aboriginal elders and all the lands in which we're meeting today, and their continued connection to land, water and country, their elders past and present. But what does that really mean? And I think what it really actually means, he explained that, in his culture, they don't think of me as I am today. They think of 7 generations ahead. And I think that translates from not only as an industry thinking about data, but thinking about how we translate that data into knowledge. And so we can think of all of the tools and technologies and applications, but if you think of that in the frame not only of data, but also of knowledge, it makes it so much bigger, and we are legacy minded as opposed to impact only in economic value, which I think is really special. So I just feel really humbled to have learnt so much about how the lives and the everyday experiences as surveying professionals are for so many people in Africa, but also so many other FIG regions around the world, like Rosario. And it really opens my eyes to how important ethics and professional practice are to the future of what we do, particularly as we have AI, machine learning, deep learning becoming so much more embedded as we automate so much more of what we do as a profession.
Very good. All right, Rosario, what do you think about this week? What have been your takeaways from what's happened here?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, I was thinking in the meantime, and there are a lot. I think that the main thing that I can say is I have a lot of homework to do at home. Not at home, only home, my country, but home at the regional. I was thinking how to make this be closer to some people that are not here. We have the privilege to be here. We have the opportunity to come and to discuss and to see other realities. What you said that, wow, we are blessed because we have a lot of things. The same that you were saying about having in my country and in other parts of America, South America, we don't have that problem that whatever can have their land but their own name. Don't care what you are, and that's important to be seen to others, because it's something, a privilege that we have in these cases and others, that when you are used to, you don't realize how relevant it is. So if we had the opportunity, that's my homework, I don't have the response how to do it, but to make that be closer to these different realities in order to start realizing that this is important, that there are different possibilities. That's why I was thinking about how can I do in order to get I don't know, it's not knowledge different, it's that the opportunity of knowing what is happening around. So, and the highlights, so I think I have to first of all say community, networking, working together, joining efforts. I think that that's the more important, not only for the quality of the interaction, but also the supporting others. I mean, you know, when one was not alone, but the room was not full of attendance, you stay there just because they know that the one that will present was cheering, that you will be supporting that person. Yes. And it's something that you can feel it. It's not only the technical point of view, that of course it was great, even I wasn't able to attend any other presentation because I was jumping from one session to the other. I realized that everybody was talking, wow, it's that technical, these tools, and that was very important also. But I mean that maybe that's the first and maybe more important, like networking, like friendship, because I feel that it's a little more than networking. It's friendship and feeling like a family, and that is amazing, because it really is important when you have those feelings that either they will be lasting for a long time, and that's great.
Well, thank you. I guess one last question.
Yeah.
Do you think these two have some potential to go on to bigger, greater things?
Obviously, yes.
Of course. Well, you know, I'm going to be cognizant of your time, ladies. I know it's we're winding up here in Ghana. I do want to have a little shout out to all of the strong ladies that have supported all of you along the way, and even meeting your contemporaries, meeting Edna, the big New York Knicks fan, Mercy, who is wonderful. And you know what? Now that I know that your mother is a surveyor, I would love to meet her and to hear her story as well. And probably the other countless Nigerian surveyors, young surveyors I probably met and because there were a lot. And then we get to the Australians, and it's amazing. You know, I'm really jealous of the role models you've had to look up to. I'm talking about you, Nell. Talking about you, Kate. There's been a lot of great role models there, and there's just a lot of good camaraderie through that group, and I'm looking forward to a wonderful Brisbane a little over 10 months from now, which it'll go like that, so it'll go pretty quickly. I guess some final housekeeping notes. There is a Young Surveyors event in Romania in October. There is a Young Surveyors event in Sri Lanka in November. Get my dates right? Okay, we'll check the websites for those. Also, go to the FIG website. I have a copy of the VCSP publication that Roshni talked about, the Volunteer Community Surveyor Program. I got my letters mixed up. Volunteer Community Surveyor Program. Fantastic publication, by the way. It was unveiled here. Very, very nice. And like I said, before we know it, we're going to be going to Brisbane, which will be a lot of fun. A lot of fun as well. So I'll leave it open to any last parting thoughts? Any shout outs to anyone you want to give? Even in your native language? Because I tell you what, and I have met so many great people this week in talking to them in English, and they go, well, but English is my second language or my third language. And I went, I can't imagine what your first is because you speak English quite well. It's amazing to me. So if there's any messages you want to give in your native language, feel free to do it.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity, Tim. Okay, so first off, I want to say Mingwo to my dad and mom for the support that you've given me so far. And they're also here at the conference. I also want to say Mingwo again to my senior brother, but not my junior sister because I'm older than her. We only say Mingwo to our elders. Then my husband, who has supported me all through and, allowing me to come for this conference was like a very big deal, and I really need to appreciate him for the effort he has put into our relationship. And for other young surveyors out there who are currently trying to get this opportunity to come for FIG, please don't stop trying to apply for the grants because it's open to everybody. You don't have to be a professional, you don't have to do anything crazy. I had someone from Nulu who's a student basically, and she's also in commission 2. She's doing exceedingly well, so please learn and leverage from her story, even if not from mine, but learn and leverage from other people's story who were also students and they've made it. Yeah, please.
And as we're doing this, we get another bomb from no, you are a young surveyor. Kwabena.
Give me 5 minutes.
Oh no, Kwabena. We're wrapping up here, but
wrapping up, all right.
yeah. So we got Kwabena, chair of Commission 8, correct?
Yep.
I gotta make sure I get the numbers right. There's too many numbers.
Yeah.
Thank you for the wonderful hospitality this week. It has been wonderful here. We've been sitting chatting with these two lovely ladies, and then Rosario dropped in and added some few things. But any key takeaways that you had even from this week? I mean, you hosted, but what's some good takeaways?
Oh, well, actually, the good thing about hosting is that you discover more things about your country that you didn't know because you're exploring for other people. So that was the takeaway from the hosting part. But then from the working week part, it was more about how means of achieving sustainable development does not go just one way. It does not go from the global north to the global south, but it's a bi-directional process. Yes, thank you.
Well, very good. Well, once again, thank you for all of the hospitality. It's been an amazing week. We really, truly enjoyed it, and who knows? Maybe we'll be back here again someday soon. It's been a bit. So, Roshni, what's the takeaways from you? Any final thoughts?
I guess for me, really, the biggest thing I've taken away is how important it is to hold on to the fact that we're a family in FIG. And as KB said, we're planning Brisbane at the moment, and we're thinking about what we can do to really make it exciting as a venue, but also as a holiday destination. So I'm learning a lot about different things I didn't know about Brisbane in Australia. But I'm also, really grateful for the fact that we are such a family. There are such beautiful friendships. There are such, so many people, and you have so much fun together.
Yes, exactly. One last plug for Rosario, and I don't know that it's necessarily supposed to be out on the street, but we're going to say it anyway. She is trying to put together plans for a regional meeting in Uruguay in 2026. So I'm starting now to plan and figure out how we can get as many bodies down there into South America and make more of an FIG presence in South America. We got a lot of things going on down there. Anything you'd like to add to that part of it?
Yeah, thank you for mentioning, Tim. Yeah, we are working hard in order to have that there. That's what one of the things that I would say, okay, in which way we, or me in this case, can make FIG goes there. Nobody left behind. And that's the way to make, on the other side, we look at FIG so far away. So, okay, we FIG are here in the Americas, South America. We want to work together. It's not just sending a message, it's being there, talking with the people. I think that that's the opportunity for those sides to feel you are part of the same and you want to work together. So just encourage people from the Americas and that we will be joining, and to not only the Americas, everybody that to go. So thank you, Tim, for sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, and I guess this is also a little a solemn word that of all the people that are suffering in Brazil right now with the torrential flooding that's going on there. Surveyors are a key role into establishing and gathering that data to see what's going on there, so we can take steps to alleviate it and monitor what's going on forward. So our thoughts and prayers are going out to everyone that's affected down there by those floods. Ladies, I think we've pretty much covered everything, and I can't thank you enough for taking time out. Rosario, thank you for crashing. This has been great. We thank Kwabena, KB, for crashing as well and his hosting. So that'll wrap it up for this episode of Surveyor Says. Wherever you listen, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you soon. You've been listening to the Surveyor Says podcast, brought to you by the National Society of Professional Surveyors. If you have any questions about today's episode or any other topic, please email us at info@nsps.us.com, and we are here to help. Visit our website, nsps.us.com, to learn more about our association, the programs we administer and support, our sustaining members, and information about future episodes of Surveyor Says. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, as well as our podcast host, Podbean. And remember, it's a